Polite savages.
At this time, we ask that you turn off your portable electronic devices. You are now free to Flight crew, prepare for landing. Flight crew, prepare for landing. Flight crew, prepare for landing. At this time, we ask that you turn off your portable electronic devices. You are now free to Flight crew, prepare for landing.
Gorilla on the beat.
Battleground between foundationally Black Americans, descendants of people who've been here for generations, some beyond the slave trade, some of us have been here for thousands of years, and then those of us who've just got here recently. And what a lot of the FBA people are doing is they're doing a necessary task, I believe, even though I'm not engulfed into the community.
Who doing it?
Tariq is a part of it in a way, but there's a lot of people involved with it. And it basically is a matter of identity. Like meaning that all the things that we've sacrificed and fought for in this country, other people of African descent that are more recent to this country or have been able to benefit from it without the sacrifice.
You know, like the racists are actually just jealous of Somalis because of how successful we became in a matter of one generation. And I was watching a lot of videos that are coming up on my For You page where people are saying, how come Somalis have nice cars and we don't? We've been here like how many generations? We were born here, our ancestors are from here, but Somalis drive nice cars. This whole thing is just making me realize is jealousy. They're jealous of our success.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
SNAP benefits, food stamps by ethnicity, Afghan, 46%. Somalia, 42%.
Somalia, 42%. Right now, people are drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, man, you can't come here claiming to be black, but not have any of the blood, sweat, and tears, and also not fall in line with what we're trying to accomplish. You can't undermine what we've built in this country, which has been a very, 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 very big problem for at least the last 100 years.
Somalis are not black. There's a difference between African and black.
Somalis are not black. Let me explain why. Looking at me right now, chat, am I black? I'm literally brown. I'm literally brown, bro. Think about it as well. Somalis are Arabs. We're in the Arab leagues. We speak the Arab language. We eat the Arab food. Bro, think about it like this, bro. If a whole community doesn't regard themselves as black, we can't be black, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, I'm sure he'll feel differently about you then. Let's see how he characterizes the heritage that you are so proud of, wanting to elevate it above African Americans.
Us paving the way, dying, fighting, going against the system, drawing a line in the sand and really trying to do things that could progressively benefit us. And then they play with immigration and allow others to come into the country and benefit from something that they're not willing to sacrifice anything for. As a matter of fact, a lot of them have left their countries where they should be staying and fighting and have come here where it's easier because we've already paved the way.
Can I get a 1 in a chat if you can hear me, please? A 1 in a chat. It seems like well, of course, Uncle Guns let me know I was on mute, so you guys just seen me memeing things. So can you guys hear me now? How is the sound now? I see can't hear me. Check, check. 1 in a chat. It seems like all right, I'm coming through finally. So, well, let me start again. Welcome to a daytime edition of Late Night at the Tip. So this is what's going on here. I had promised some of the members and some of the folks that I would be here during the daytime because me being on the West Coast, I start streaming at 8:30. It's 11:30 at night. And this subject is a subject that I wanted to approach during the day. It's a serious subject. Now, most of the time, when we stream, it's late night and all day I film, I edit, I do stuff, but I took a day off. I switched it around so we can get you guys loud and clear of my opinion of the situation. But before that, I got 26 concurrent viewers. I want all of you to hit the like and let me know where you're at. I want to know where my folks are tuning in from. I find it amazing that people all over this country and sometimes the world actually check us out, So where you folks at? Let's go.
I go by slime.
Where we at here? I am in the San Francisco Bay Area. Where we at out there?
Go by slime. I'm hella fine.
Prince Bud, where you at, my G? Where you from, my G? All right, I got somebody in Washington State, West Coast. Luscious Love. Indianapolis, Indiana. R Jizzle. 9509. Indianapolis, Indiana. There we go. Memphis, Tennessee. Man, y'all got some pretty good food in Tennessee, but I still like Texas barbecue better. Detroit, Michigan. Hey, Detroit. I was complaining because it was like 55 degrees today, so that's crazy. Who just got off of work in Denver, Colorado? Prince Bud. I got somebody in Phoenix. Hey, my folks in Phoenix.
by
How's
slime.
everyone doing out
I'm hella
there?
fine.
Where you
I
at?
got
Where you
some-
at? Let us know.
Pussy ain't mine. I go by
Nashville,
slime. I'm
Tejas,
hella
Texas.
fine.
There we go.
I got some.
There we go. Hometown. My folks from Houston area. Where you from in Texas? If you
I'm
wanna let
hella
me know.
fine. I got
All
some.
right, all right, all
Pussy
right.
ain't mine.
So I put that together because I think it's amazing how many folks are here, but we have some serious stuff to talk about. So let me tell you this. There is a difference between ethic violations and legal violations. And this is the thing that makes everybody upset with politicians. And we're going to show you today some evidence of why you should be upset with politicians. And I'm going to tell you folks right now. Right now, people listen to me and they try to put me on a plantation. They try to put me on the Democratic or the Republican plantation. And I'm free. I's free. I promise I never say that. I belong to nobody. I belong to myself. If you play into this plantation politics, you will start looking at stuff that don't make no sense and start trying to make sense. And one of the things that we're looking at right now in the Minnesota fraud situation is that all the way up, they played politics. And then people had the nerve to get upset at us when our tax dollars were spent to tell us that we're just racist. So apparently I'm just racist against somebody from Somalia. Even though Somalians tell me, hey, all the time, if you go back to our last video we did, they had an imam there saying that all of us were born out of wedlock, all of us Black Americans, we don't know who our moms is, we don't know who our dad is, blah, 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 all the blabble, blabble, shut up. But here is the deal. If you just don't play politics, fraud is fraud, and it's rotten to the core there, and that's why the person who was running for vice president of the United States just resigned. Now, listen, I'm not going to approach this from a political lens. I'm going to approach this from simple right and wrong. I don't give a damn where you're from. I want to treat you fair. But I tell you this, it's right or it's wrong. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the next piece of content. And this is good, Stephanie Jackson, 1391, because you asked a very good question. After this next piece of content, I'm gonna explain something to everybody.
To be honest, it's really disheartening to see a lot of people of color on my timeline and Hispanics, Black people being openly racist towards Somali people. Because, first of all, let's break down this Nick's guy video, okay? He goes to a Somali daycare. Mind you, he goes an hour before.
So first thing I want to approach here, just right off the bat, we have to stop saying that everything's racist when somebody's against somebody else and they're a part of an ethnic group. All right? I don't care where you're from. Two things can be right at the same time. Somebody can be racist and not like fraud. Somebody can be not like fraud and not be racist. Somebody can look at fraud, be very upset that their taxpayer dollars, which this was federal taxpayer dollars administered to the state, goes to the wrong place, and they can be racist. This is a diversionary tactic used by people to stop you from thinking. There is no reason that if somebody is wrong, you're wrong. If someone's wrong, they're wrong. I don't care where they're from. And when you start saying, well, they're just racist, we don't care about fraud and this and that. I care about where my money goes. I care about endless wars. And I care about, most definitely, veterans on the street starving to death. And we can't find money for them when they gave their heart and soul to this country. So every time I see $1 billion going the wrong way, I think when I walk down the streets of San Francisco and I see homeless people and I wonder, did they serve or did they not serve? What's wrong with them? Do they need services? We don't have services in this country, but we have fraud in this country. And this is what happens, everybody. And I'll tell you this, and I just, because we were all hot on waste, fraud, and abuse. Everybody wants to go after waste, fraud, and abuse, but nobody wants to do the dirty work with waste, fraud, and abuse. And this is part of it. Is it the biggest part of it? No, but it's low-hanging fruit that should have been taken care of on the state level.
Or they open. It opens at 2, he goes at 1. He doesn't show the paper on the door, he blurs it out because it says that.
Right here, the lady says that this place where it was a part of this sensational expose about fraud, that they opened at 2, but they went there at 1. So I don't know if anybody's ever worked or ran in a daycare or any place where people go. You are there an hour early. You are there 2 hours early. An administrator is there 4 hours early, to be honest. Somebody is there during the daytime. You have to clean up. You have to make sure it's clean. You have to make sure you're stocked. You have to make sure there's proper facilities. You have to do a safety walk. You have to do a safety walk every day. In this country, when you have children in a place, you're supposed to do a safety walk before they go there. You're supposed to do a detailed safety walk once a week, but you have to do a safety walk every day when they go there. Make sure that there's no glass on the floor. Make sure that, the water is hot. Make sure that you have facilities. Do you got graham crackers for the kids? Do you have toys? Are the toys all safe? This is something that you're supposed to check off every day. And so somebody saying that an hour before is not there, man, it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. And this is the thing. People who never ran a business before, people who's never worked in a company before, it blows my mind when they say, well, an hour before the place is empty. Very few places do you walk in, turn on the lights, and take your first customer. Very few places.
Hours of the daycare, and he got there before it even opened to make it look like it was closed and nobody was there. So, second point. A lot of these daycares have already been investigated and shut down, the ones that were committing fraud.
So this is interesting. How can you be sure that everything was shut down after they were investigated? If you found 200 fraudulent daycares, how do you know there's not 400? We all understand that crime in this country doesn't go 100% prosecuted. And you should be looking for fraud all the time when taxpayers' money are there. It's called checks and balances. It's called quality assurance. And this is the problem. These folks, they jump on the internet. They've never done anything. They do their face up. They try to be cute and they try to talk.
That was years ago. And they're trying to connect all of this to the Feeding Our Family or Feeding Our Future program fraud scheme that was actually led by a white person.
Okay. Who cares who it was led by? Who cares? Here's the problem right here. A white person can be the head of an operation that's not white. It doesn't make a difference. Fraud is there and you should prosecute who the fraud is. Now, when we start looking at stats and we see that 80% of the Somalians in Minnesota are on some type of assistance proven. When we see that nationwide, the second largest percentage, as we showed in the graph earlier, of people who receive SNAP benefits are Somalian, then you kind of look at it and you say, well, hold on, 42% of your population is on this. Does it make sense? Sure, it makes sense. You came here as refugees. But if you stay on it, it's just confusing when on one hand, we have people, and this is very boisterous in that community, bragging how well they're doing. And on the other hand, saying that 42% of you are on some type of benefits. It doesn't make sense. And this is what brings attention and negative attention to them. And this is why people have to investigate. After the investigation, they start finding things that are anomalies.
Yeah. And it's just really weird how people will be so fast to just believe something on the internet just because it looks like...
Looks like what, ma'am? It looks like what it is. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, flies like a duck, it's probably a duck. And you could put lipstick on a pig, but it's just a pig. You could try to fix it up, but it's still shit.
Yes, I want to start with a statement, which was a lot of the journalism that's been going on the last couple of days has been really dishonest. I don't want to point fingers at anybody, but I do feel like what was done was someone came to our building outside of operating hours when there's a specific sign on our door that says our...
Now, this is very interesting to me. So he's repeating that they came outside of operating hours. Very easy. This is very easy fix. Give a tour of your operation during hours. Have your operation during hours, have parents sign a waiver, let the cameras in. Prove yourself. You see, every business should have to prove that they're actually doing business. And when this person comes here and he says that, and there's something else here as a business owner that I just know he's full of it and he's pulling it out of his butt. But whenever somebody says, hey, they came here outside of business hours, so why wouldn't he be right now like, hey, you know what? They're not here now and I'm open. Come on in. Let me show you what I'm doing.
Days and our hours. He came outside of those hours and then claim, hey, they're closed and they're still making money. They're using taxpayer money to work. And it's like, you don't come outside of operational hours and then say they're using taxpayer money. That was completely.
Now, this was the same individual, the same building that held 2 daycares in one building. So at the very least, there's some type of double dipping or something that should be investigated.
False. As you can see, we're open Mondays through Thursdays, 2 to 10 p.m. He was here earlier. I don't see him right now. So it's like, are you trying to record that we're doing fraud, or are you trying to put the Somali name and the fraud in the same sentence? That's what really hurt us the last couple of days. We're open. We've been open. We haven't closed. We've been open for 8.5 years now. We haven't.
Also, this was a straw man argument that this person made, trying to put the Somali name with fraud. Listen, if it's fraud, it's fraud. If it's not fraud, it's not fraud. If you are able to prove that you're not fraudulent, then you just prove you're not fraudulent and you go on. If they come back over and over again after you proved it, then you can start saying possibly it's because you're of this ethnicity or something else is there. People have a right to ask. This is the problem that gets me. We have to stop letting anybody, people who receive the taxpayer money, people who use the taxpayer money, any of these SOBs, they have to understand that you can ask them a question where your money's going. This is the problem here. You're not above reproach. They can ask you a question. Anybody can ask you a question if they're a taxpayer. If you're going to receive the money. Hey, if you're private, then nobody has a problem with it. Nobody is showing up to private daycare centers saying, hey, you're not open when you're supposed to be open. The only people who would do that are the people who are paying tuition for their kids to go there.
Closed once during that period. So I wanted to touch on that first. The second thing is, which is kind of laughable, is the sign.
And this is how I know this person's not a business owner.
We messed up the sign. We paid somebody to do our sign. He incorrectly did it. We're having him work on it. We paid.
So if you've ever paid for anything, and let me tell you something, I pay for stuff. I pay for design work sometimes if I can't do it myself. I mean, at THPP Network, we do a lot in-house, but if we have to do we're trying to get 50 videos out, we may have an editor do some B-roll outside of us between me and Scotty, especially when Scotty's on baby daddy duty, whatever. I just had a baby. I'm a daddy now, duty. And it's just me. We depend on people. We have employees. They can be contractors. They can work for us. One thing I do is no matter what, I quality check everything and every detail. When I owned the catering company, I quality checked every detail that everyone cooked for me. Everything that we prepared, I tasted it before it went out because I gave a damn. For you to have a sign that represents your company wrong, and for someone else to point it out to you. Now, listen, it's happened to me before. I put up something and it's bad. It only happens once, and it would never be a sign. It would never be something that you paid that represents you. I had a typo in a description before and I freaked out. And somebody saying, hey, you know what? They're fixing the sign. It's BS. This is someone who's not a business owner. Because let me tell you something. Anybody who knows me, anybody who's been around me, anybody who's worked with me in tech, anybody who worked with me when I was a retail district manager, anybody who worked with me when I was a medical regional manager of medical equipment, they would know that if something like that was wrong, there would be hell to pay, hell on earth. And I wouldn't let up until it was perfect. You know why? Because it's my reputation and it's my business on the line. Whenever somebody says this, just the fact that somebody else caught it, the fact that it was up there visible, if it was visible for over 24 hours and somebody else caught it, this person is not present. He's not walking his facility. He's not looking at everything. He's not quality checking. He's not making sure sanitary is there. And you know why he's not doing it? Because ain't nobody there. Listen, this guy could have did a smash hit piece on him. You could do a hit piece on somebody and still be true. You could sensationalize it and it still be true. But this cat daddy right here, he reeks of a liar.
Him to correct the sign. He said they'll be done by this week. So by the end of this week, our sign will be.
You're going to let somebody take a week to put up a sign or to do a sign wrong. I would tell them to take the sign down, give me my money back, and I would do a sign with somebody else. And they would have it up the next day. You have a national embarrassment and you're saying it's a week? Why am I making a big issue of this? Let me tell you why I'm making a big issue of this, everybody. I just want to focus in. Why am I making an issue of it? I'm making an issue of it because if you can't focus on the small things, like a sign, how the hell can you focus on the general well-being of children in your facility? Would you trust that person with the children in your facility? Hey, in the chat, give me a 1 if you trust somebody who couldn't get a sign right. Somebody who couldn't get a sign right. Give me a 1 if you would trust somebody who couldn't give a sign right, or a 2 if you would not trust them in the chat. If you can't get a sign right, would you trust somebody with your children? Number 1, if you would. Number 2, if you would not. I want to see what you folks think, because you know what? Sometimes I'm an OG, as they call me, old man. Sometimes I start tripping. Sometimes I just don't know. Sometimes maybe I'm taking it too far. Maybe I'm putting too much on it. Oh, Grover, maybe you just got a bad attitude. Maybe you just an old fogey stogie. You trying to do stuff the right way. Or maybe, just maybe, this person is absolutely, completely, and totally 100% over the top full of shit. I see a couple of 2s. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 2s. We got some 2s in there. I don't see one. I don't see one person who says that if you can't get a sign right, I'm going to take my damn children and drop them off there from 2 to 10 o'clock. You're going to have my kids from 2 to 10 o'clock and you can't write on the sign? What are the kids doing there? What are the activities? Sometimes people have to just read between the lines and use discernment and common sense.
Fine.
I don't dislike Somali immigrants because they're black people. I dislike them because they walked into my house, were given shelter and resources, and then stole from me.
Exactly. Sometimes you don't make something about a race of dislike. You make something about the action that they did. Listen, man, there's Pookies and Ray Rays. I don't mess with them. They're not around me. You are the sum of your environment. If you're around a bunch of idiots, you're going to be an idiot. If you're around a bunch of people asking for $1, you're probably going to ask somebody for $1. If you're around a bunch of drug addicts, you're probably going to be a drug addict, because that behavior that I'm telling you, a behavior of someone who's just over the top dumb and just can't do nothing in their life, will bother you if you're not that person. If that behavior of somebody who's always asking for money will bother you if you're not that person. That behavior of somebody who's always in a different world, it's going to bother you if you're not that person. So I don't have an issue with anybody if you're behaving yourself like a good, rational human being. The problem I'm having is that it seems like too many of y'all are acting that way. And now I got to take time out of my day to pick and choose. No, I'm not going to group you all together. I'm just going to be leery. And for you to not understand that is crazy. Because I understand when I go someplace and I'm a big 6'1", 275-pound dude who lifts weights. When I walk up on a little lady and she looks at me a little worried, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry I got too close to you. Because big dudes are scary to little ladies sometimes. It is what it is. We live in a world of reality, and perception is reality. It's up to them to police their community. That's why I come here and I talk common sense to my community. It's up to them to police their community.
That's the part that's not clocking. See, you've let Democrats condition you so deeply with race language that you don't even realize how low their opinion of your intelligence is. They know they can hijack your emotions and shut down your reasoning and keep capitalizing on it. Because this isn't about people being black. This is about tens of millions of dollars being stolen through fake institutions that were supposed to house and care for children, child care funds, American taxpayer money you worked for, and the very man you wanted to have be the vice president runs this state, allowed this to happen, and is now defending it by race baiting you.
And that's crazy. That's crazy. The head of the state, the highest executive in the state, he was actually running for vice president. So I want to take a little time just to explain something to everybody. So TIP Network is actually just not TIP Network. It's a corp, and this corp does a couple of things. Like we do content creation, coaching. We do we do travel videos. We do straight reactions. We do live streams. We do a lot of different things. Sometimes we employ people. Me as a person in a corporation, if I come out here and I have nothing prepared for you, and I just sit out here and I say, guys, I really don't have nothing to talk about, but you would look at me like, what am I doing? And then if you look at me as just a content creator, you'd be like, all right, well, he's a little incompetent. But if you realize that I owned a corporation, this is my living, and this is what I was supposed to do, you would say, why isn't this person more prepared? So when I look at Tim Walz and I see that this fraud actually, and I want to be fair, the investigation did start under the Biden administration. This isn't, it just came, and people were arrested under the Biden administration. But when I see Tim Walz, when we find out that he pulled back investigations and his office pulled back investigations because he was actually worried about people perceiving him since the Floyd incident as a racist, then we have an issue in this country. We have to just get back to right and wrong. A lot of times when I talk, I say right and wrong, and I understand right and wrong. So let me tell you folks why the state senators exist, why all of these people exist. They exist for a hierarchy of, let's say, there's a hierarchy of a bureaucracy to actually get things achieved for the people, right? We don't, and there's supposed to be checks and balances. But at the very top, the state executive is the governor. The governor is in charge of everything. And that's why he's not running. He should resign right away. But he's not going to resign because he has to make sure that he puts people in and does this and that. But the governor's at the top. The state senators and state representatives are up here. They're supposed to directly represent the people. And then you have mayors and you have people under that, and you have a system that flows under that. The head of a city is a mayor, and you have the assembly or the council who basically mimic what the state does, and the state basically mimics in most cases what the federal government does. I'm not a big politics guy, even though I was pre-law in college and I understand a lot. I was going to be a poli-sci major. Thank God I didn't do that because I'd be broke. But what I do understand is that a lot of times the hierarchy is set up there to make sure that things happen. Now, the problem is that when all of these intertwining issues happen, there's ethical issues that come up. The difference between ethics and law. And this is what makes everybody upset and why most people can't stand it. Because ethically, something could be wrong, but it won't be illegal. And politicians are really big at violating ethics violations and not going to jail for them. Most times you go to jail for an ethics violation when you lie about violating it. So the next piece of content is very interesting because you find out how interconnected things are. And I don't even think it's a secret society. I think it's out in the open, in your face, and they think you're too stupid to recognize it. They think you're too stupid to recognize it.
Owns Super Kids Daycare and the previous, what was it called? Creative Minds Daycare. His name's Mohammed Muse, and he is the brother-in-law of Omar Fateh. For those who don't know, Omar is a member of the Minnesota Senate, and his...
So I want to get this really clear, and this is why I went live with this. I didn't even want to make a video about it. I just went live with it because the person who's close to election fraud is actually the brother-in-law of a state senator. Now, I want you to think about this. You run for election and your brother-in-law literally has been busted for stuffing the ballot box.
Brother-in-law was convicted in May 2020. The owner of these daycares was convicted for...
And he also owns the daycare centers that we're talking about right now.
One count of perjury for lying to a federal grand jury about his role in handling and delivering absentee ballots during the August 2020 primary election.
And so just to show you guys that I actually followed up, I actually went and I pulled a news clipping that said that state senators campaign volunteer sentenced for lying to the grand jury about delivering ballots. Muse Muhammad will serve 6 months on house arrest, 2 years of probation. Seems a little light. Seems like he had a little help with that, right? And as we go further, Minneapolis Democratic Senator Omar Fateh's brother-in-law campaign volunteer was sentenced Monday to 6 months of house arrest for a grand jury. You mean to tell me his brother-in-law is the reason why all of this happened? Now, what is the connection to this? Look at the thumbnail. The gentleman on the thumbnail is the state senator. His brother-in-law is was at the heart of some of these issues. He owned 2 of these daycare centers. So now there's a clear quid pro quo. Quid pro quo is tit for tat. It means that I do this for you, you do this for me. It is the number one way that sexual harassment lawsuits are settled, but it is not limited to sexual harassment. It is the heart of corruption. Hey, Uncle Guns, I need something. You do that for me, I'll do it for you. There you go.
With details. Lou?
And Julie, right up front, I want to be clear. We found no evidence of billing fraud here. However, we did discover something raising what a legal expert labels serious ethical concern.
So what they did was they looked and they said there's not billing fraud, but there's ethical violations. And the difference between an ethical violation when you're a politician and an ethical violation in the private world is what makes everyone upset. So let me tell you something. I was absolutely core management for 3 startups. Core management means that we're forming a startup and I have responsibility over several departments, not just one department. I'm not a department head, but maybe at one time I was a head of all the warehouses. I was also a head of procurement, and I was also a head of training and development, all for a company, right? You play a lot of hats. If I violated anything ethically, I would just be fired. You just fire somebody. It's grounds for termination. These elected officials in these positions have ethical violations, and they have a choice to resign or not. They're not fired. They're not kicked out of office. This is why people get upset. So this person right here in 2020, his brother-in-law, and this is a state senator who's connected to Ilhan Omar. His brother-in-law was literally the person at the heart, or one of the people at the heart of this controversy now. So he got busted in 2020, but it didn't stop him from doing nothing because he just got a slap on the wrist.
Senator Omar Fateh's wife was a listed owner of a housing stabilization company, even as the senator and current Minneapolis mayoral candidate himself was pushing legislation to fast-track client approvals for the taxpayer-funded program.
And so this is what I'm talking about, corruption in the state. I want you to really look at this. This is corruption in the state Senate. So his wife was the owner of one of these companies that he was fast-tracking to get funding to. Yes, I know it's a little heady. It's not entertainment. It's actually information. This is what's going on here. This is why people are upset here. And this is why we need to look at everything that anyone does with your money with an eye for discernment.
Senator Fateh, Senate File 2741.
A bill that will address a critical delay in access to housing stabilization services.
So the gentleman that we showed earlier is his brother-in-law,
also known as HSS.
His wife owns a company that he's pushing for to get her money.
It's March 24th, 2025, and Senator Omar Fateh is the sole author of a bill he says will speed up access for people to be approved for HSS,
So
a Medicaid-funded program to help the elderly and disabled find and maintain housing.
HSS is a lifeline.
A lifeline, moving too slow.
How does the governor look at this, and how does nobody investigate at all? How does nobody know? How does nobody ask a question? No, this happens. Here's the thing that gets all of us. If it's happening there, it's happening in your city and in your state, especially if you're in a state with an over-bloated budget who spends a lot of money. You ever notice why your state is always in a deficit?
Oh, the senator says, because at DHS, there was a months-long enrollment backlog as the agency was overwhelmed by the number of people being signed up.
Delays that are putting people at risk of eviction, extended homelessness, and service lapses.
What was not known at the time was that Senator Fateh had an undisclosed tie to the HSS industry. Senator Fateh's wife, Keltoum Mohammed, was a founder and owner of Community Development Services, LLC, an HSS company.
And also, as I said in a previous video, Omar Fateh was instrumental in the Feeding Our Future fraud. Once the authority...
So, literally, a state senator was at the heart of the fraud. A state senator was at the heart of fraud. And Tim Waltz knew about it because it's his job to know about it. You can't expect him to know what every individual in the state does, but you must know what your direct reports, the people who you are the executive of. If you're the head of a state, that means that any ethics violation that happens with these senators, you have to know about. And you may not have to get involved with, even though there's a separation of powers, but you can call for at least call for their resignation. And he didn't.
He's got wind of the fraud and stopped it. Omar Fateh was one of the people who helped get that overturned so that the fraud money could continue to flow.
My name is Omar Fateh. I'm the state senator for District 62, which is in South Minneapolis. I want to thank first all of you for sticking together, for working together, for fighting. I want to thank our organizers, Mahad, Ikram, other folks that helped lead this fight. And I want to thank also Amy and her team, Feeding Our Future, for making this first court victory a reality.
This Libs of TikTok post says...
So, the person he just thanked is a person who just got arrested as the head of a scheme. Now, I want you to think about this, and I want you to watch this next part. When I was researching this blew my mind. And I just wanted to bring it to folks. I wanted folks to understand, because I'm so tired. I'm so sick and tired of people just automatically running to a racial issue. And let me tell you something. And I want to say this right now. I'll be very brief because I know you want me to get back to the content. And I don't want to keep you forever. I understand. I definitely understand that there is racism in this world. I'm never going to look at anybody and say there's not. I'm not going to look at you and say that this is not racist, or this is not, you've never experienced it. Because me saying that is stupid because I don't know your experience. I don't think everybody's making it up. But it can't be the first damn thing you run to. If they see somebody who has a dark hue and all of a sudden it's racism. Well, hold on. Is it fraud or isn't it fraud? Right? Maybe the person, so is he being framed? Is this just a big, gigantic frame job? A white lady is at the head of it. So definitely, if they got her face up here, it's not just absolutely racist. It's not just absolutely, we hate Somalians. Hey, Somalians, maybe you shouldn't have been so stupid to let this lady use you to make all that damn money. Maybe she was using and abusing you. Maybe you should have looked at her with an eye of discernment. Maybe you should have looked at her like you looked at Black Americans. Because one thing you folks did, you was full of piss and vinegar talking about how Black Americans, number one, we don't have fathers and we don't know our fathers. We're all one night stands. I will later on, if I splice this up, I will slice into Iman full of Somalians in Minnesota who was preaching that bullshit and they were absolutely cheering it on and loving it. Hey, if you had a little more discernment and was looking at the right place instead of the wrong place, you wouldn't have got caught up in a trap. And now they got 2,000 ICE agents on your ass. And you know what? Sometimes you FO and find out, man. You mess around and find out. I don't want nobody to get hurt. I don't want nobody to get in trouble. But let me tell you the truth. Absolutely, this is an issue. Just right quick. I know you folks. I know this channel is police. This channel has actually been on probation. We've almost been deleted before as a channel. We haven't, and we edit everything out. One of the things that flags YouTube is when you put all caps in for all caps in, or if you're swearing a lot. So I would just kindly ask people, I know it's crazy, chat, please. I'm just dealing with a YouTube thing right now. We don't bring it to you like that. I don't tell you YouTube's after me or I'm shadow banned or this and that. I don't bring it to you like that. I just let you know, please. If any of the moderators like, hey, don't hit us with all caps. Just don't hit us with all caps out there, guys. Just do me that favor. Chat, you know I mess with y'all. If you're here, you're my polite savage army. I ain't trying to tell you nothing but just if you just do the issues we have behind the scenes that I'm totally dealing with. I spent about 25 administrative hours just fixing YouTube problems, working with the reps, making sure that we're okay. So if you could just do that for me, I'd appreciate it. Folks, I rock with you. I'm not trying to get on your case. And I understand that we just kind of do what we got to do here, So I'll get right back to the content. I'm sorry I seen one of the mods were saying, hey, don't hit us with caps. And I know you folks probably think the mod's acting crazy. Mod's protecting my channel. Guns has been a mod here since the absolute beginning of this channel. And so he's just helping us out and protecting us. So please, I thank you all, folks.
is that if you go to the searchable database of the different child care centers and you search, and you will see that Amy Box's name, she's listed as a contact for like 40 different child care centers, y'all.
How does that not fraud? How does that not flag fraud? How does that not flag fraud? 40 different child cares. 40. How does that not flag fraud? How does that not? I can't even fathom. When I found this morning and I was like, oh, it's libs of TikTok. That can't be. Listen, this has to be hyperbolic. Libs of TikTok. They love to talk. And then I looked it up and I was like, it's real. How does this happen? How are you the contact of like over, how are you a contact of over 2 organizations? Being a district manager, I had literally five warehouses I had to watch. 5 warehouse to open to the public. It was hell on earth. I was getting called all times of night, and it was just 24 hours. It was crazy. As a regional home equipment manager, I got calls all night, whether I was on call or not. It didn't make a difference, of just 2 locations, one in the Sacramento area and one in the Bay Area. And we covered all of Northern California from that, and it was crazy. You mean to tell me this lady can do 40? Come on now, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's fraud. And like I said, to the Somali people, how you let this person catch you up? I thought y'all was smart. You know, the first lady saying how successful y'all been driving nice cars.
How can one person who is a Feeding Our Future fraud mastermind, $250 million or more, also be the point of contact for 40 different childcare centers? Now take a look on your screen. I actually went to the website myself and I did the sort, and there you can see Amy Box's name, y'all. Now here's a little bit more information about how the Feeding Out.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Could you imagine?
Initially stopped.
How
does
somebody not see
able to get it going again, and you're gonna see her surrounded by all the people of the community, y'all. This lady was deeply connected,
and it was actually stopped, and they approved it again.
Had deep ties in the community, as you're gonna see here.
Tonight, we've obtained compelling video evidence in the high-profile federal Feeding Our Future fraud trial. Prosecutors...
You know what's funny is, like, a lot of times when I put stuff together, it's really hard to find information, and it's really hard to vet information. This is everywhere. So I know you folks have heard of this before.
Submitted a video last week showing former Feeding Our Future director Amy Box
like living in an alternative
a
universe.
Winning court in 2021. Well, now prosecutors are trying to prove Bach was the leader of that entire scam.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, once the vice presidential nominee, actually just over a year ago, of course, was the vice presidential nominee, announced yesterday he is no longer running for a 3rd term as the governor of the Gopher State. He convened a press conference.
26 is an election year. Election years have a way of ramping up the politics at a time.
So hold on a second. One thing I cannot stand is when the politician gets caught and he tries to blame politics. You're in politics, bro. You're in politics. You know damn well what you signed up for. I'm not a politician. When I come out here and if I say something crazy, you should see the emails I get. I got people hitting me up all the time. Hey, man, I think you're wrong about that. Hey, what do you mean about this? Blah, 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 blah. It's the job I took and I signed up for. This fool is a politician. He's the most powerful man in his state. He was going to be the 2nd most powerful person in the country. I want you to think about this. He was running for vice president of the United States. Now, listen, I know a lot of people out there, especially in my family, they were pro-Kamala. I wasn't. I'm an independent. I looked at it and I was just like, I don't know. It seems like we should have had a better process. Seems like we should have had a nice primary, and then we could have picked whoever we picked, and at least people would have felt better about their choices. But this is what I'm saying here. We got some crazy poor judgment going on from top to the bottom on that side of the aisle. Now, I'm not saying that anybody's better than anyone else because, like I said, I hate all politicians. I think they're all crooks, and I think that both wings they fly on the same bird. But this fool has the cash money nerve to come here and say, well, in an election year, they ramp up the politics. No, fool. In an election year, your ass got caught out there. You got somebody right under you that you should have checked. All of this stuff you should have seen. You should have freed your people. Somebody should have gave you a report. You should have put your foot down. You should have did something, and the buck stops at the top. Could you imagine a CEO of a company, a president of the company saying, well, you know what? A lot of politics this year and this not. It's like, nah, your ass is fired. You don't believe me? Look at Stefanski's ass on the Cleveland Browns. He jacked up all year. He didn't put Shador in when he could have. When everybody in the damn stadium wanted to see Shador. But no, Shador didn't get into the second half of the season. Then he played half-ass decent. That cat at Cleveland, he's out. I'm not even going to try to say his name again because it just makes me mad. The bottom line is that if you're at the top of an organization, the class starts with you. And you can't say it's politics. It is the game. It's the game you wanted to play. And so you need to get your dusty, rusty ass out of there sooner than later.
Time when we simply can't afford more of that in Minnesota. In September, I announced that I would seek a historic third term as Minnesota's governor. And I have every confidence that if I gave it my all, we would win the race.
If he gave it his all, he would win. Let me tell you something. If this dude is able to win after this scandal in Minnesota, I don't know, man. You might, damn. I mean, the Golden Gophers has got your head in a gopher hole. I mean, at one point, you got to hold people accountable. I'm not saying it doesn't make a difference if you're a liberal. It doesn't make a difference if you're a conservative. You got to hold people accountable, and you hold them accountable with your vote. This person is resigning because either A, there is a legal jeopardy for him, and they told him if you get out, we won't go any further, or B, he's not going to win. Because there's not a bigger narcissist in this world, real term, than a politician.
But as I reflect on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays, I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Every minute that I spend defending my own political interest would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota.
So I want you guys to think about how deep this went. So we showed that we started off with just a dude who's maybe he's committing fraud, maybe he's not committing fraud. He's running a daycare. He want to take care of your kids, but he can't even get a sign right. So we have him. And then we keep looking and we follow the breadcrumbs, and we see that the state senator is his brother-in-law. Interesting. And his wife, the state senator's wife, actually owns one of the companies that he's actively campaigning for to get money. And nobody says anything. The lady at the heart of the scandal, surrounded by all the Somalians, you know, they put the job on her, and she was one of the people. She was in the tribe. Oh, they gonna put her in the tribe. Hey, FBA is black folks. Hey, you're black Americans. I'm a black American. I'm American. My family go back 10 generations at least. At least. I can tell you the plantation. They're not part of your tribe. They inducted that white lady into the tribe now, and you take whoever it is, because I believe that you treat people how they are and bring them when you want. They inducted that lady into the tribe because she was putting cash money in their pockets. So this is what I'm telling you. When you see these folks talking crazy about you, when these immigrants come here, right? And I'm going to quote somebody that you may like or you may not like, but Louis Farrakhan, he said, man, I had a dog and he was a hell of a politician. He's cool with the chickens. He's cool with the hens. He's cool with everybody. And when the coyotes came in, he was cool with them and took them right over to the chickens. Whoever's in power, he's cool with. And that's exactly what these immigrants are. They were cool with that lady because she was putting money in her pocket. They didn't care about right or wrong. That's why you got so many on government assistance. 43% of your population don't need government assistance. That's crazy. That's crazy for somebody who in his adult life has never, ever been on welfare. And when I've been on disability, it's because I got hurt and I couldn't work. Never been on welfare. To see something like that is crazy, right? And then to see them surrounding this person, lifting her up, and then she just happens to be a heart of a fraud. And to watch it trickle all the way up to the point where a governor gets taken down. I'm telling you, folks, that is the issue that we have here. They drape her in a Somalian flag, and they love that lady. She's supposed to represent the United States of America. listen, I am not one of those people who think that you can't be proud of where you come from. But at the very least, if you have a flag from a country you came from, you better have the flag from the country you're at the same time. At the very least. And when you take that oath of citizenship, it says that you are now loyal to the United States. That's what it says. So you can appreciate your heritage, regardless of where you come from, but you got to love where you're at to be here. So listen, what do you guys think about that? I think it's kind of crazy. I think it's crazy that we have so many people. We have so many people here that are involved in this fraud that when you look at it, it goes all the way up to the person who could have been your vice president. Was that really a good choice? Was that really a good choice? So let's see who we got in the chat. Let's see who we got in the chat. And I think everybody, I seen that, I was peeking. I don't see a lot of caps. Hey, I'm not trying to get on your case. You know, I respect all of y'all. Let's just, man, if only you guys knew what YouTube was doing. If only you guys knew. So who do we have here? We have Prince Bud, Uncle Guns. Hey, how you doing? Luscious Zone 2987, Stephanie Jackson. And we were talking about the hierarchy in the Secret Services. Yes, Uncle Guns, this whole thing stinks of money. Yes, this whole thing stinks of money laundering. You know what? Let me tell you something. If this was a bunch of Italians, you would think if this was a bunch of Italians, I say Italians like you can tell my family from the South, man. If there's a bunch of Italians, you would absolutely think that this was the mafia. If it was a bunch of Chinese dudes, you would think it's the triads in the Bay Area. If it was a bunch of Hispanics, you would say, hey, this has to be a cartel issue. They're money laundering. I look at this and I say, yes, they're money laundering. When you have an uneducated populace, you allow bad things to happen. So the only thing I tell you folks is this, and I just want you to know, I don't care who you vote for. Educate yourself on the people. Educate yourselves. Be smarter than the educational system of this country, because the educational system of this country will have you dumb, working forever, and dying broke. And I'm not lying to you. The educational system of this country will have you looking at a tradesman who comes out of high school making 6 figures 4 years after and telling them that he ain't good enough, that he ain't good enough to date you. Or looking at it from a dude and say, that's not a good enough job for me because he didn't go to college. When this person making 6 figures without debt and you making $65,000 a year with debt up to your ass. That's what this educational system would do for you. You have to learn. How did I get educated? When I got out of college, my education started. My education started from mentors and from old school cats. My education really started happening inside of barbershops where OGs would say, let me tell you something how it was then. And then I would investigate and find out how it really was. That's how my education started. When I traveled the world, I read books in places. I know a lot of people, we talk about going places for ladies, but I started looking at books. I started looking at places to educate myself. When I went to Egypt, I went to the library in Alexandria before it burnt down. I went and I read places. I have a lot of respect for different cultures, but respecting a different culture made me appreciate my culture even more. That's why if somebody ever looks me in the face and says I don't have a culture, I laugh at them, because my culture is rich, and it's a culture of struggle, it's a culture of overcoming, and it's a culture of being behind enemy lines and making it happen. Minnesota debt ratio is 44.05%. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. That's a lot. Yeah, Donald Trump went bankrupt several times, Captain Tech. And let me tell you the cold part about it. The cold part about it. You can go bankrupt a bunch of times. And once you start learning the game, you start learning that bankrupt ain't bad. Nah, bankrupt is not bad at all. Bankrupt is a way to reorganize your debt, and for people who have your debt unsecured and don't have it personally signed for you, to get the shaft. It's business. This country is made that way, and it's crazy. William Polite Savages, I don't have a lot for you today. I just wanted to do this really quickly. For folks who if you're interested in the content creator school, we had our first Q&A the other night. It was awesome. I've had 4 new signups recently. If you sign up, you get a free hour consultation with me to get you started. The class is pinned. It's my Patreon. It's Content Creators Pro Club. It's pinned in the chat if you're interested, if you're just thinking about it. And it's the actual curriculum. When I show people the curriculum, what we're going over, they're actually amazed. I would most definitely love to have more folks in before we fill up the capacity, but we have a great curriculum going on, and I'm looking forward to helping people monetize what they do in their spare time. With that being said, I'm going to read a couple of these comments, and then I'm going to let you guys go. I'm not going to keep you too long. It's a Friday. Most of you folks, it's 7 o'clock. You got some dinner to cook. You got to chill out. You got to relax, get ready for your weekend. Some of y'all might need to get ready to go back to work. But I just respect and appreciate all of you. And I'm going to say this all this whole year. Last year taught me to be very grateful. Last year at this time, I was working 85 hours a week, 90 hours a week. I was working 40 hours at my job, 45, 50 hours at my job, and at least 30, 35 hours at content creation. This time last year, this exact time, I was tired and I was working hard. I mean, look at me. I'm only 25. I just aged poorly. I'm just playing. I was killing myself, but I was doing it for a purpose. And I was blessed enough in March to understand that I didn't have to do it forever. And I was able to do this full time. I was blessed and I was grateful that I had a great father who actually told me to go seek education outside of school. He said, get the books first, then get the real education second. He told me, get the books for people to see this stupid piece of paper and they can hire you, and get the secondary education from the OGs in the streets, from the people who know how to hustle, from people who know how to do the job, so you can stay there and excel there. He was absolutely right. A man who was mostly educated and learned a lot in the military, knew everything that I needed to know about the business world before I even got into the business world. And I'm lucky and I'm blessed. And I just hope everybody can find that person in their life. But I'll tell you this, when you see the BS coming, you got to call it out. And so it's not about these people being from Somalia. It's about these people being from Somalia, immigrating to this country and defrauding it. You had a second chance at life, and it's too many of y'all acting like an ass. And let me tell you something. If you're a wolf and you got a bunch of rogue wolves around you, you need to be a lone wolf and get away from the rogue wolves, because sooner or later, somebody going to kill all them wolves. Anyway, let me read a couple of more of these comments before I get out of here. In too deep, RICO for short. It does feel like a RICO. It feels like organized. This was way too organized. Let's see. Luscious. Hey, my dear, no problem. Hopefully it's Luscious Own. I think you're a lady. If you're not, please forgive me. I said my dear. I just wrote Luscious 2987. Thank you so much for the information. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to this special afternoon version of Late Night at the Tip. We will have a nighttime stream this weekend, hopefully. The Milodon 85, country is a joke, and they want regular people to be working 9 to 5, suffering the ends meets when motherfuckers in your backyard making millions off of fraud by robbing regular hardworking people. And that is why I came online here. And that's why I did this, because I understand the anger. It's not the anger that who the person is. It's that you don't care where they come from. Well, thank you, Lesha. I'm glad you're a woman, because I called you my dear, and I was just trying to be nice. I don't want to be, I don't want to get in trouble. People be like, oh, Grover is, what do y'all youngsters call them, zesty or flexible or something? We used to say they were moist, well, back in my day. But you're right, though. People get upset not at who the person is, but anybody who comes and ripping you off, you're not going to like, bro. You're not going to like it. Follow stocks and muni bonds and tell a lot about things. Yes, especially municipal bonds, especially muni bonds, especially when I was doing redevelopment. Muni bonds are very important. Anyway, folks, I thank you so much. We'll be back with more content. I'm probably going to cut this up a little and put this out there, so if anybody missed it. But I appreciate you. Take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. And as always, ask yourself one burning question. One burning question. Can you handle the tip? Boom. Pause. Got to say pause for your youngsters, and we're out. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Debo any rap nigga, he a free throw. Check this ass shit, y'all. I grew up on the crime side, in New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. Had second hands, mom's bounce on old man. So then we moved to Shaolin Land. A young youth, yo, rocking the go-to flow goose. Only way I begin to G off was high-loot. And let's start it like this, son. Rolling with this one and that one, pulling out gas for fun. But it was just a dream for the teen who was a fiend. Started smoking woolies at 16 and running up in gates and doing hits for high stakes, making my way on fire escapes. No question, I would speed for cracks and weeds. The combination made my eyes bleed. No question, I would flow off and try to get the dough off, sticking up white boys in ball courts. My life got no better, same damn low sweater. Times is rough and tough like leather. Figured out I went the wrong route, so I got with a sick ass click and went all out. Catching people from cross seas, rolling in MPVs. Every week we made 40 G's. Yo, brother, respect mine, or here go the Tech 9. Move from the gate now. Cash rules everything around me. Bring in the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. Cash rules everything around me. Bring in the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. It's been 22 long, hard years. I'm still struggling. Survival got me bugging, but I'm alive on arrival. I peep at the shape of the streets and stay awake to the ways of the world, cause it's just deep. A man with a dream, with plans to make cream, which failed. I went to jail at the age of 15. A young buck selling shugs and such, who never had much, trying to get a clutch at what I could not. The court played me short, now I face incarceration. Patient, going up states, my destination. Handcuffed in the back of a bus. 40 of us, life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough. But as the world turned, I learned